Yo, 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 welcome to Living for a Living with Joey Bradley. This week's guest, in my opinion, is one of, if not the best quarterback trainer coaches in the U.S. and definitely on the West Coast. I'm constantly stealing drills and stuff out of his playbook off his Instagram and using it while I'm coaching. We also have some crazy similarities with college and professional path in Europe. And so I'm just really, really excited to hear his perspective not only on football and coaching, but just life in general. You can find him on Instagram at Left Coast Athletics with an X. Our guest for this week, my man, Jose Mohler.
Living for a living, baby. How you doing?
Dude, I'm getting European out here. Like I legitimately like sparkling water
Yeah,
now,
I
and
saw that.
I don't know what. I'm shocked, but I gotta have something in it, either lemon or cucumber.
I mean, you're paying for something.
Get a little
Don't fucking
bougie.
charge
Yeah,
me.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
charge me for the bubbles at least. I'm not gonna charge for. Don't charge me for water without bubbles. I get that for free.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. But yeah, we can just hop into it, man. Thanks for joining me, bro. I'm always like tripping out over these kind of things, like just the power of social media and the internet and all that stuff. Cause like that's how we know each other. And
Yeah,
I'm always, you listen to some people talk about some stuff and they're like, oh, I'd like to do this or I'd like to talk to that person. I'm like, yo, message them. Like that was just how we came up with, doing anything. What, a couple years back, I was just like, hey, man, I'm going to be around. Let's meet up. And I mean, that's what social media is for, being fucking social.
yeah. Not being scared to ask and just go about like, yo, I'm intrigued in what you do, how you go about your business, or like we had the same kind of path with going to Europe and playing and being the FCS, being that kind of West Coast kid to go to or to go to the Midwest, right?
Uh,
A lot of
no,
different
bro.
little.
I was doing my little research on. I kind of already knew your story, but then I kind of dug a little deeper. I was like, damn, we really do have some like similarities in the story of from. I know you're from Cali. I went to JUCO in Cali. Then we both
Yep.
go to school in North Dakota,
Yeah. Crazy.
FCS. We both get in a little bit of trouble out there, and I don't know. I'd like to ask you about what led you ultimately to transfer, but mine, I didn't have to leave because of that, but at the same time I kind of did. And
Yeah.
then go D2, and you end up going to my home state of Washington. I go out
Yep.
east, but
Yep.
like, and then we both get done. I'm sure, I'll let you say it, but I just still had that itch to play. And so like, fuck it,
Yeah.
let's go to Europe. Let's go do that. And so we've had some cool little crossings of the path, whether, and now you're coaching. I mean, dude, I got to say to start, bro, I mean, I think, hands down, like the best fun, like of all the guys I see on social media, at least, and guys I've been around with, like how you're talking to kids and like teaching, not just doing like bullshit, like cone drills and trying to, like everything's like super game oriented. You're
Yep.
talking to
Yep.
guys about, reads and just like being a good human, and like being a good dude. And so no, I just had to give you that compliment right off the bat, because it's like I I've been coaching QBs out here and when I was in Florida for a little bit, and I'm always like, all right,
Yep.
I want to do something a little different today. What's my guy Jose doing? What did he do yesterday that's a little different? And then I try and implement it into my stuff. So it's fun to watch you, man.
I appreciate that. I mean, it comes back down to that whole journey, that we've been on, the successes and failures, and then just having a super like vetted passion and love for the game. It's like just dealing with people. We talked about this when we met up in person, just like dealing with the energy of being able to inspire somebody, make them feel more confident, make them feel more powerful, make them feel more fearless. That goes a long way. And us being in the position we were in playing quarterback, it's like it's a super vulnerable position. if you say you're not scared, then you're probably lying, because there's moments in your career to where it's like you don't think that things are going to go your way, and that's a constant battle. So I don't know, it's a really gratifying career, because especially during this time, like I get to commit all my emotions and all my energy into something that I'm really passionate about, and not a lot of people get the opportunity to say that right now, and it kind of drives them nuts. A lot of people are disgruntled with how the world is turning right now. So just being able to be in the position I am with the sport of football, something that's supposedly a child's game, it's creating a life of happiness and continued growth, and possibly a pretty prolific professional career for me, at least in my community. So I'm stoked about it, man.
For sure. No, you hit it. I mean, that's like, I'm always like the guys and girl, I haven't had a girl on here yet, but the people I'm always trying to get as guests on here are like, with the theme of living for a living, is like people that are like doing what they want to be doing. And
Yeah.
I mean, you nailed it on the head. Is like right now with people getting laid off and just so much uncertainty with everything. And like, shit, I went through it with, I had 2 seasons now get canceled over it, in a matter of like a week or two. And I mean, I'm just grateful still that the phone's still ringing and people are still playing around the world somewhere, and have you had much of like a down, have some guys like not been wanting to train, or is there, for you, it's been pretty just almost maybe even
I
up?
feel like it's been more it's been like, it depends what part of the quarantine we're talking about, but yeah, my community, like the one that I've kind of grown up with, my normal clientele base has been really, really consistent.
Okay.
I'm lucky to have other people within the community that have preached a very high standard of, just how to go about your process, whether it's a former NFL guy or, me being in the position that I did with playing college football. We're all sharing with our community, how to get these kids to be elite. And that's just consistency. So, the normal community has been good. And then just, kind of broadening your horizon and getting some new clientele. But yeah, it's tough because all the kids have been stripped of a test date. Tests were originally created to give your mind a little bit of something to look forward to, a little bit of anxiety to put pressure under. And, especially with all the stuff that sports in general, whether it's soccer, football, basketball, you work for something that you can't see. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you're trying to find daily growth, right, for something that you probably can't see. Whether you're a 10-year-old, you're a 12-year-old, you're a 14-year-old, 15-year-old. A lot of these kids are working towards something like they haven't been able to taste any of the fruits that they've been working for lately, and it sucks. It's not easy, but that's what we're here for, because things aren't going to go your way. Things aren't going to always turn out how you want, whether it's sports, life. But the main thing is just being consistent. So I think this is a really good self-discovery time, like you said, like, oh,
100%.
your season's got canceled, but you're still disposing of your energy and your passion through podcasts, through whether it's, just different things, to where it's like right now you got to figure out where you want your heart to be, what truly makes you happy, and what makes you live like you talk about. Because if we can all commit to something, and it's not easy, because everybody's got to make money and everybody's got to take care of a family and everybody's got different situations, but if you can find at least a little bit of 15-20 minutes a day to find gratitude within something that you like, I feel like it's just going to make everybody a little bit better. So, but getting to call this my career instead of 15 minutes a day, I'm handling the pandemic. I'm out there in the sun playing catch, coaching kids, coaching like studs, kids that have a shot at executing, kids that are passionate, that want to listen to me, that want to be around me. And it just jacks me up, it jacks me up. It gets me excited. There's a mutual, like, symbiotic relationship there, to where it's, you can feel that they're getting something from me, and then I'm getting something from them, whether it's they're, a high level kid that has offers, or they're somewhat of a kid that is in the beginning of their developmental stage. It's a great time, because just dealing with people, because I get to teach them how to dispose of their emotions again, through a game.
And when you're around the younger guys, like, it just like, I've just noticed like it makes me feel more youthful too. You know, like what, you're like 30, 31? How old are you?
30, yeah.
Yeah, I'm 30 also. And like, man, I was coaching this kid out here in Czech this year, 13-year-old kid who, I mean, can sling it and like impressive and like incredibly coachable, like working hard. Like I barely even have to coach him almost, you know? And
Yeah.
couple, you know, had a couple of those throughout the last couple years. And it's like, damn, like I feel young, but also like in this cool little mentor role, because I can remember being him and like thinking, you know, for me growing up when I was like a senior, junior in high school, my guy that I looked up to that had camps around me was Jason Gesser. And so like now it's like I'm the opposite of the role, and it's just like cool when like life goes in that circle like that, and being able to just stay young but at the same time like you feel old. I don't know how to explain it, you know. I think you probably
Oh
get
yeah.
it, you know, you're like,
You got that wisdom. You got perspective, but you still like, I'm living in purgatory right now. I'm trying to figure out why I didn't execute on my childhood dream, and like putting rest to where my heart originally was as a little kid. Things haven't changed. I
right,
still feel the same way. I still want to be great. I still want to be that kid that was like, I want to be remembered for football. And it's not like who I am, but it's what I do. But I'm going to be remembered in my community just how I originally set out,
yeah,
and to go out and inspire and 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 get that little bit of competitiveness along with an individual that is yearning for development, or help me take that step, whether it's within my mental or my physical or my emotional, um, to do what you executed and be better than basically you. So it's
yeah,
I don't know, like you said, it's nothing, there's nothing better. And I grew up without a father, so there's been like so many people within my process
yeah,
that have stood out, that have empowered me, right, to where they have made me feel stronger than I actually am, because I never had that father figure in my life that was like, yo, you can do this, or that had those tough conversations with me. Of course, my mom like did a really good job, but it's not the same, because what I'm seeing with like my teammates or my friends or on TV, it's always like the coach, the dad, that's like, what I'm saying? So it's really cool to also be that person for other kids, whether it's the kid that doesn't, have a father figure, or somebody's not involved in their process. It's just another one of those things that really, at the end of the day, when you feel if you've made an impact in the world, it feels like it. So you just feel warm,
for
feel good.
sure. Yeah, it's just like it's dope that football and sports in general, and like that's a thing I love so much about like the American sports culture. You know, I obviously I can be a critic on some things about the American culture, but American sports culture to me is like second to none because of the way we take it, how the seriousness we take it, and like the lessons we put into it. You know, I feel like other places in around the world just view it as like a hobby or something to do, and like it is,
Yeah.
but it's like I know for myself the way I am and the way I'm able to work, the way I'm able to like overcome shit is because of sports, you know, and football primarily, you know, like with both our paths, like we've probably throughout time had a lot of people say like, and maybe not directly say you can't do this, but like say give you that impression, and then have to kind of be like, no, screw you, like I am going to do it, and then you do it, and then maybe you have a failure like you said. I mean, you're going to fail no matter what.
That's Yeah.
it,
We had to, I'm coaching high school sports, right? And they make us do this like NFHS, National Football High School thing. And and that's one of the things they were coaching us up about was, um, sports were originally created to prepare the society for military. And
ah
when you go into the military, things are going to be tough. You're going to fail. You're going to be tough. You're going to be in tough situations. And yeah, like sports is a perfect vehicle to assist with failure, because like you said, whether it's like another person against you, another team against you, or a coach that doesn't believe in you, there's so many different energies that you're having to deal with, but you're going to have to rise up. And even when you do fail, it's like, are you going to come back and you're going to feel sorry for yourself? Like, oh, I'm not good at this. I'm just not going to, I'm not going to rise up, or I'm going to walk through the line, or I'm going to show up with a bad attitude and display bad, like, nonverbal communication. And those are the defining moments in life. I've been talking about this with a local coach, and it's like, what type of person are you when nobody believes in you, when nobody has your back, when you're not winning, when you're the backup, when you're supposedly too short? What type of person are you? Because that's going to be the defining moment. It's like, everyone's going to tell you what you are and what you aren't, but it really doesn't matter what's going on in their head. It matters what type of effort you can consistently give despite you're losing. Because, all right, who said it?
Damn,
Big
bro.
Sean?
Yeah,
Right?
man, I want to go play a game right now. You got me. You're giving me chills right now, man. Like, that's how would you say, I've been somewhat like critical in my mind at times, kind of, now that I'm 30, I'm like, man, these damn kids, it's like different. And, I think it's more, I don't think it's really kids necessarily. It's just what we have going on. But like, I feel like at times, and it's carrying over to adults, it's everybody, I guess. It's not just the kids, but like, there's such like a fear of failure, I feel like, right now in this time, because of our Instagram highlight kind of culture, where like, LeBron's only posting the championship ring picture. He's not posting the missing the game winner, that I think he's missed like 20 game winners or something throughout his life. It's like,
Yeah.
do you notice that with kids, or do you feel like it's just kind of the same as it has been?
It's so easy. Like, when we were growing up and you were playing in Pop Warner, right? I'll use my local cities because I know what that's about. Like, I'm in Encinitas, like San Diego, Pop Warner, and I don't know who the kid in Vista is. In spite
Right.
of him being right down the road, I have no clue who he is. I have no clue who he is. I've never seen him online. I've never seen any of that. But nowadays, it's like everybody can see into each other's backyards. And like you said, everybody's putting up such good performance. So I don't think it's fear of failure. It's expectation now. It's expectation that when you don't execute and you're not the person I saw online, or you're not the person you said you were, or people are saying you are, then it's like, you are not, you know what I'm saying? Everyone's going to point a finger at you. And, and that's one of the main things that kids like, because it's not how they perceive it, because kids don't know how to perceive failure. They're little kids. You're not supposed to be born with an elite standard. You're supposed to be taught that. You know what I'm saying? So it's our response to failure. It's the adult's response to failure. It's not like, oh, you failed and here, next guy up. It's teach me, be a concierge service on how to gracefully fail, whether it's giving me process, whether it's giving me a sense of, affirmation, or just understanding like how to fill my bucket. And sometimes that's, pouring water out of my bucket, and sometimes that's pouring water into my bucket. But that's the main thing, because I think mental disorder comes from the ability not to handle your emotions right. Because it's all like being able to, like, you're getting emotions, but who is there to help you with that? Like, at a young age, whether it's a coach, whether it's a parent, whether it's a principal or a teacher, they just got to be taught how to fail gracefully, because it's inevitable. Everyone's going to fail. Whatever aspect it is in life, you're going to fail.
Yeah,
And
no,
if you don't know how to do it, you're screwed.
that's good. That's good. I haven't actually thought about it in that way, because no, it's,
well, failing brings growth. It's like, I was reading this book by it was by Daniel Coyle. It's called The Talent Code, and he's talking about like the main way to build, like, to get into a frame of deep focus is to fail meticulously while being inspired by curiosity. You know what I'm saying? So those that are going to go and be great are curious, but they don't care about failure. Like, I'm in a world of curiosity. Curiosity is question marks surrounding my brain, because I don't know what's going on, but I'm searching for answer. That represents failure. And then once you are okay with that, you're going to, like, it's like a baby trying to learn how to walk. Their eyes are like lasered in, and they're just like, whoa. And you're like, that being is in deep focus. So when you can get somebody like to embrace and like hold hands with weakness and failure, then it's like we can truly get to the development we need. And like that's the true representation of a coach. It's like, we're coaches because we're teaching you how to do something, the process of how to do something, the integrity to carry like with yourself the honor to go about, you know, whether it's fatigue, fear, and to fail, like we talked about with when taking an L. You feel me? So it's I don't know, because it's really easy for me to get you to look like a quarterback. It really is. Like, not to be cocky about it, like I can make you look like a quarterback. The toughest thing is how to get you to act like a quarterback, how to get you to act like a high level athlete, because I couldn't do it. I look great in shorts and a t-shirt, but I couldn't do it, you know.
But you still did it pretty damn good. I mean, like,
of course, but you know, we get to that top level and it's like people did it better than me.
right.
You know,
Right.
people perceived, you know, themselves as more of, I'm going to commit off the field. That's where I went wrong, right? We talk about, okay, yeah, I got in trouble. Like, I messed up because I stopped thinking about long term. I started thinking about short term. It was like, okay, yo, who's the chick that like is down with my like social status, right? Because she's the short term gratification that I'm gonna get right now. You know what I'm saying? Or like, what area can I be in to where people are like, I had a tough time with saying no, and people not like, people wanted to be around me because my energy was palpable, and it was fun to be around me, and I brought good energy to any situation I was in. So a lot of people, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent, wanted to be around that, and I just had
the
trouble
California
saying no.
boy in North Dakota. They all wanted to taste the California, you know? Yeah.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it's just it's tough. It's tough to continue to. It goes back to, like we said, like right now, these kids aren't being able to taste their fruits, and you continuously got to work for something like that you can't see, because it's not going to be instant. It's not going to be instant growth. You're not going to walk out of the session with like, you know, 10% growth. It's minute. It's almost invisible, but the consistency is what's going to get you there. So.
Yeah, no, that's what, like, before we kind of started, that was just like going back through your Instagram and seeing you know, a couple of the videos and stuff, and you were saying something that I just loved was the you know, the days you don't want to be there, it's like those are the days you're really like cultivating like your professionalism and mindfulness. You know, I'm not quoting you exactly right, but it was just like, damn, that's the truth. Because man, I'll admit, man, even I feel like I'm living my dream, getting to do what I want, but then man, there's still days I don't want to go practice, you know. But it's like, as soon as you get out there and start doing it, it's just, for me, a lot of the times it's like the first step. I'm like, whether it's the gym, practice, whatever, the days I'm not feeling it, as long as I can just like take that first step and get out there, like,
Yeah, first part is just showing up,
create the momentum, and then just like keep it going. And no, I've, like I said, I like what you're doing with that, because I don't know, I guess I'm not following a ton of QB coaches throughout but I don't feel like that part of it is at least put on a pedestal in the way that you're putting it. And that, I think that's the right way. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but like, it's more than just catch, step, and throw, you know?
Yeah. It's a small part, like you said. There's so many different variables. It's emotional intelligence is something that I think we're just starting to really like crack into, and a lot of people are starting to just ask questions, because just society's changing. You have people that are you know, stand for different things and identify with different things, and just as being a part of a civilization, you have to, you know, accept the way other people think, and helping people deal with whatever situation it is, whether it's on the football field or in a classroom or in a social environment.
Yeah.
And being able to deal with their emotions is the biggest thing. Like, emotions are natural. You're supposed to cry. You're supposed to be angry. You're supposed to hurt. You're supposed to feel good. It's all natural. It was put in your body for a reason. And we just got to be able to harness it and feel the right way to use things. And, you know, being able to dispose of things with a passion is a secret weapon, you know?
Yeah,
Because
it's now more than ever with our climate of political, you know, all the whatever climate you want to say right now, especially in the States, of like, you know, it's just tough at times to have that conversation, whether, you know, because I think, like you said, of dealing with emotions, I don't think has been talked about or put into the focus very much. And so we've run into this issue, and now I'm speaking more like grown-ups rather than kids, because it's kind of expected when you're younger to not have a handle of your emotions perfectly, but that's like part of growing up. But we have all these adults that I'll say that I feel like don't have that grip on their emotion. And it goes back to the whole thing for me is like, I feel like I do. And obviously I still lose it at times because, you know, I always say like, if you're too emotional, you're controllable. So you got to know how to control your emotions. And then you just get into this state that's crazy. And so I bring it back to football of learning how to, one, control it. And then two, I've also lost it a lot, you know, lost control where but in a setting that's like, it's allowed in a way that I can be like, oh man, like I shouldn't do that again, you know, like, but at least it's in a setting of intense football, fuck you kind of thing, where if you do that in real life and it results in a fight or whatever, it can literally like alter your life.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's that whole thing, like one decision can't make your life, but things will break your life. And you learn
Yeah.
that the hard way, especially off the field, especially with, you know, your mouth, the things that you say, the clothes that you wear, everything. It's like everything you do is judged. And I think that's just normalcy right now. It's like you see a lot of people are very critical of one another, but that's once again, I think it's a tribal thing. It's like,
For sure.
you know,
For sure.
it comes back to like, that's survival of the fittest, because how am I going to eat? Like your food is my food.
Yep. And
You know, so I
yeah,
think
back to
just,
the tribe is like when we were all 100 people in a tribe and you did something that everybody didn't like and you were out and then you died because you needed the tribe to survive. So it's like rewiring that of like, okay, you know, now we're at this place of like comfort where like what other people think about you for the most part, as long as you're being a good person,
yeah.
is irrelevant, you know, and it's all about what you think. And then um like it's that, but it's human nature. It's been just ingrained into us over evolution.
Yeah, it's magnified now because everything is so under a scope with, you know, like social media and everything going live. And as soon as like you see the football players now, it's like they win a game and boom, out comes the phone. It's like
Yeah.
everything is so, and then you got so many people following all these people. Everything's being critiqued. But I guess
No.
that's just I guess you gotta adapt. It's like I'm slowly turning into that person, like to where, or when I was like a little 14-year-old, I'd be like, wow, like that person's like, that old person's like such a jerk, like such a, like so grumpy. And then now it's like I find myself like being like, why are they so like that? You know, I feel like I'm like now that old grumpy person that's like, wow, like they're definitely not handling that situation the right way. But then you put yourself in those shoes and kind of understand like there's always a person behind the personality, right?
Yeah.
We're who we are today because of all the events that have brought us to this point and how you've handled every decision. Like I tell the kids all the time, like every decision you make every day is going to decide your destiny. Whether it's, you know, you deciding to go to bed early on a Friday night and wake up, you know, early on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
You know, those are the types of things that are really going to get us to go where we want. And like you said, like I don't know, it's a unique time to where it's cancel culture. It's I know
We're
who you
learning.
are
Yeah.
culture. It's, you know, like you're this, you're that. Let's put this person in a file cabinet. So it's, I don't know. You kind of got to be, I don't know. Like you said, it comes back to sports. Like I've been desensitized. Like you can think what you want of me, but I know who I am and I know how I feel. And I'm, you know, I've been critiqued so many times in my life and, you know, told I'm this and I'm that, but you know, I'm standing here tall and breathing and with a smile on my face, most importantly. So, I don't know. I'm always thankful to sports and the individuals that help lead me through sports, like we said, because if it's not through the people that helped me through my athletic career, I probably wouldn't have the type of integrity that I have now.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a new wave, and it's like football is like AAU basketball now, to where there's a lot of individuals that are in a coaching situation that aren't carrying the integrity of learning how to deal with failure the proper way, or you know, teaching a team culture, which is, you know, what life is about. Because when you get into the professional realm of life, you're gonna have to deal with people and how you make people feel, how you police a culture. You know, those things are the most important things. So it all comes back to that emotional, because like we talked about, you know, often you think you're going to go off and be this certain type of person, whether it's D1, NFL, right? I'm going to the highest levels. It doesn't end up that way, right?
Yeah.
So all of the experiences that you went through hopefully are going to lead you to be, very competitive when you get your opportunity to go win at life.
Yeah, straight up. And speaking of like people of influence, who's been like a major positive influence for you like throughout your career coaching wise, or like who do I always say I'm always the hippie glass half full trying to be positive about everything. And I'm like, I take the good things from the good coaches of like, okay, I like that and I want to do that. And then from my the guys I view as not the best coaches that I didn't like, it's like, okay, I know what not to do, And so
Yeah.
who's been like some people that you've really kind of vibed with and what have you taken from them?
I mean, all sorts of people. I'd say, like, first off is my mom,
Yeah.
because how much she's poured into my passion for the sport. Like, I was never one that was really into school, and she never made me feel bad about that. It wasn't like, of course, like, she still preached school, but it was always like, if you want to love football with all your heart, go ahead and do it. And I was never spurned for any of the decisions that I elected to make on my own, whether it was to go off to a small school or go play ball in Europe. It was always like, chase your heart. And then to see her run a small business, and the way she dealt with people, made people feel on the daily. Um, Woke up
What kind of
consistently.
business is it that she has?
A coffee business. So
Okay.
she was at a coffee cart and would consistently just understand people's drinks, understand their sports teams, was a trademark within our community that people leaned on, and was a source of inspiration and energy, because people would come in there dog ass tired, and she would promptly make their drink exactly how they wanted and send them off with a positive aspiration for the day. So just seeing her do that throughout my young career just helped me deal with people in general.
Right.
And
Oh yeah, dude.
she was a teacher as well, so she would always take me on the campus and like, yo, you go introduce yourself to this person, go introduce yourself to this person. And that made me basically who I was, because I remember, like, when I transferred, one of our offensive linemen was like, yo, every time you step into the huddle, I feel like we're gonna win. I feel like we have a chance to be successful this play. It's just because of the energy you bring in here, right? It's not like you're an I guy. It's all about me. It's like about us, and like that stuff's some of the most important things, and that's what it comes down to in life. Like, how can you make people feel? People and process, right? Do you make people feel good, and then can you supply them with a good process to make them better and add value to them? So
Yeah, and
she's a big one.
yeah, and it doesn't matter whether you can throw it 100 miles an hour, 80 yards or whatever, like that becomes irrelevant. Like when if you can step in the huddle and demand the respect, and then also like exhibit this, like, I mean, the quarterback's such a unique position, because you got to be one of the guys, but you also kind of aren't either, like you are, but you aren't. And there has to be, I'm sure the best, Tom, Aaron Rod, all those guys, like they walk the line of like, you got to know, like, okay, right now, like, yeah, we are boys. We're always going to be boys. I love you, blah, blah, blah. But like, I'm also going to let you know, like, it's my responsibility in my position to be like, yo, no, it needs to be like this, or, hey,
Yeah.
we got to pick this up right now because everyone's slacking. It's like that weird blend that obviously we both love, about it, because it's like it's all on you, and I love that about it. But what about like coaches and stuff?
Yeah, coaches. So I like I said, I grew up without a father, and my mom through the coffee cart had a client that
Or hey,
was
one real thing onto the mom coffee cart thing. Like I just had to say, like, when you said that, I was like, oh, for sure. Because dude, everywhere I go in Europe, my first thing I try and do is I try and find a cafe that is like my spot. And so like, dude, there's a weird power in the place that you get your coffee. Like, and so when you said that, I was just immediately like, ding, like something went off. It's like, and everywhere I've been, like when I first got here in Czech Republic, I didn't have that. And I was kind of like, it's all right. And then I found it, and it was just like, as soon as I found it, we're good. Like, let's
Yeah.
go, you know? And so, sorry, I just had to throw that, like, the coffee mom, you know, like I had to get that out there. So
No, it's exactly what this leads into. Like, you know, people would always go down there and read the newspaper when the newspaper was popping back in, like, you know, the early 2000s, and sports. And she met individual Shane Lamb. He ended up being my quarterback coach from the age of 12 years old, and he was he was, you know, obviously from the old school times, but he had a new school, like, contrarian thinker thought to him. He wasn't scared to teach certain things, and quarterbacking was very, very cookie cutter.
yeah,
You got to do this and blah blah blah, do this, and it's like, to think outside the box was somewhere where I feel like I get a lot of what I do. And even, like, to this day, we'll go over there. I'll go over to his house, and I classify him and his family as my family, and I go over there and preach to him what I feel is mechanical, or what is good movement, and he'll always give me a different thought, right? And
right.
you know, it's if we're all thinking the same way, then we're not thinking at all. So it's really good to have people like that in my life, to where he comes and he either, you know, helps me understand it a little bit more, because I got to back it up with my side of it. So and I think I get that from him. I was telling my mom a situation. I was like, yeah, I got to go stand up for myself. And she was like, oh, it sounds like what Shane used to do back in the day. He used to break the rules and, like, do things that people weren't used to doing. And now it's like, you're doing the same thing, you know, to where it's like a lot of times it's like, I'm always trying to be on some new stuff, like,
Yeah.
not trying to reinvent the wheel, but I'm not scared to teach kids certain things because I feel like I can do it, you know, to where people are
Or
like,
get
oh,
the blow up dummies out there, bro.
exactly.
When I saw that, I was like, how haven't I thought of, you know, like, it's so, like,
Yeah.
not simple, but at the same time, oh, that's so good, dude, you know, like, and I'm sure you've caught some shit for it, but also, like, equally people being like, oh my God, that's great.
Yeah. It's, you get your old school people every now and then, but, you know, I don't know. It's, people are pretty hyped up about it. It's, I don't know. It's great because playing the quarterback position, you have to be so in tune with your feet, right? Your feet are one of the most important things in the quarterback world, your feet and eyes. And a lot of times your eyes are getting, you know, kind of clustered up, and it's a little bit murky, and it gets a little swampy when you're starting to go through a read. And if you don't understand, like, where your guys are going to be at and how to trust your feet, you're going to struggle, because you're going to take that extra hitch, and you're going to have that little beat of indecisiveness in your heart. So, you know, it doesn't completely fulfill an 11 on 11, you know, Friday night situation, but it does the job, and it restricts their vision as much as
Yeah.
I need. And they have to adapt with their arm angles, and they're just psyched about it. You know, it's like being able to give kids, whether it's off platform, whether it's inflatables, new things, new ways to fail,
Yeah.
right? It's going to really allow their mind to take that next step, because, yeah, of course, like, I could keep it like 1990 style and go, like, you know, stationary the whole time and keep it really simple, but the mind just not, it's going to get so bored. So
Yeah.
now it's like, I got to find ways to bring this new style, this new, like, flavor, to where, yeah, we can have our fundamentals. Like, I call them, like, the Tim Duncan drills. I'm like, this is the
Okay.
big fundamental right here. Like, we're doing it, like, you know, super fundamental. It's not gonna look sexy, but then, like, a lot of the stuff I put on my Instagram is like the sexy stuff, right? To
Right.
where it's like, ooh, ah, like, and it just adds a newfound confidence. Like, you start to teach them how to do different things. They're like, ooh, I can do, because that's the main thing. Like, you see the QB1s, like, QB1s make throws that QB2s can't. You
For
know, I can
sure.
make throws that other people can't. Of course, I don't want to have a Jay Cutler mentality with it, but, like, I still want to, like, have a protective thought with the football, but I can also not be robotic, and I trust myself, you know? So I've found good success in it, because the kids end up getting really cocky and really confident, which I want, you know. And then I'll bring them down from there. That's where I start to polish them, right? Make them look all pretty, because I need you to believe in yourself, and doing things other people can't, being able to throw sidearm, being able to throw off platform, being able to throw, you know, across your body. Those type of things are what really allow you to feel the game, because you're going out there and you know, you don't feel like your feet are tied. You don't feel like you're hesitating. You're just going out there and playing. So
Yeah, and I mean, nowadays with the style of football changing. Like there's no such thing relative for the most part of just like a game manager quarterback. And, like very, very rarely, even in the NFL right now, maybe like Tannehill on the Titans with, there's maybe one
Yeah.
or two, but high school, very rare, unless you're like a wing tee, old
Yeah.
school
It's all
kind.
dependent
But
on your scheme.
everyone else you look at college, unless it's Army or Navy, like everyone is for the most part relying on the quarterback and the receivers to get things done. And that's just the way it is. And so if you're only teaching be conservative, like that gunslinger is like a part of the game to a certain degree now.
Oh man, I feel like that's one of the biggest things is when coaches don't believe in their quarterbacks. It's something that quarterbacks can feel, and you try to make me into a game manager, or you see this in high school a lot. You see quarterback coaches or offensive coordinators not believe in their kids, and they try to call perfect games. And
Mm-hmm.
when you have that feeling of, oh well, I'm gonna make this guy into a game manager. Like I felt like that at NDSU sometimes. I was like, I was scared to make mistakes. I was scared to push the ball downfield because it wasn't like, yo, you better protect the ball. Like, just don't lose this game for us. And then I went to
Exactly.
Central, and then I went to a situation where it was like, I'm throwing 40 times a game. I was like, wow, this feels really good. Like I'm just out there ripping it, right? And that really comes from a coach, right? Because even though like they're having these coaching meetings behind closed doors, I can still feel that energy. Like energy is going to transfer through those walls, and it's going to hit me because yeah, I know how you feel about me, and especially little kids. Kids are the most intuitive. So it's like when you don't believe in them, like I was having this conversation with a high school coach. I was like, why don't you just let him call the backside route in 3x1? Like just let him call like check with me. Let him call slant, hitch, or out, right?
Exactly.
And he's like, oh, that scares me. I'm like, why? Why does that scare you? Like, give him a sense of responsibility. Give him a sense of like, yo, like I'm rooted to this decision now, to where it's like, you got to trust our guys. The more you start to trust the guys, the more they'll start to go out there and play. But if you don't trust them, they're going to feel it.
No,
They're
exactly.
going to feel it.
And it gives them like for me, I've been QBOC out here in Europe and stuff. And so like you want to do what the guys want to do, or feel comfortable doing. And so like my first game this year, I had this big receiver that I'd throw backside of trips down in the goal line. I think we hit a fade like first time down in the goal line, touchdown. And he comes back in the huddle the next time we're in the red zone. He's like, hey, he's terrified of the fade right now. Let me run a slant. And I'm like, I was going to call a run play. And I was like, dude, if you're this confident in what you're going to do, then fuck, let's roll with it. All right, call a play, slant, backside, touchdown. Like it's like you want to do what the people, your players want to do for the most part, and so no, I always get, yeah, it
It
scares
comes
me.
back to how you having trust, though.
Yeah.
It's like if you're egotistical and you're like, no, I know what's right, and you don't. And that's coaching, right?
Yeah.
It's really hard, especially for a 39-year-old, 45-year-old vetted man that's committed, 30 years of his life to football, to
Right.
come like for a 17-year-old quarterback to come off and be like, hey, coach, throw a slant. And he's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
like,
and your livelihood's on the line too. It's
not
there's
easy.
a lot. Yeah,
That says a lot about those individuals. It does, because it's like it's got to be that sense of trust as a quarterback to coach relationship. But it's tough. It's tough, but it comes back to just how good are you of a coach? It's
Yeah,
like,
I haven't thought this in so long, but in high school, we were in like the quarterfinals or something. And I mean, tie game, something, maybe we're down late in the fourth on like the 4. And me and my one homie had worked on back shoulder fades like all year round. This is like 2008. This is like almost no one's really throwing back shoulders yet. And coach would watch it. We didn't have it in the playbook. We just saw TO doing it or somebody doing it. So we'd practice it. And I come to the sideline to get the play, and he's like, hey, you want to throw the back shoulder to Miller? And I'm like, do you want to throw the back shoulder to Miller? And he's like, you guys hit it every time. I was like, I watch you guys. I was like, all right, 3-step touchdown, the game winner. You know, it's like
his affirmation gave you affirmation.
no, and it
You know?
was that was a weird one because it was totally role reverse. It was like I was confident in it, but as soon as he gave me the confidence, like I guess I wasn't confident in the moment, but then as soon as he was like, "No, you guys hit it every time," I was like, "Yeah, you're right, we do." So let's nail it.
Yeah, but that goes into like if a coach can, you know, kind of perspire positive self-talk, affirmative language on you, he just controlled the way you're thinking about yourself with his remark to you. And
Yeah,
that's the sign of a good coach. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Like getting these kids to understand, yo, it's that little monkey in your head that's throwing a fit for the banana. You've got to figure out how to communicate with him.
yeah,
Right? You
yeah.
got to figure out how to get that person to consistently talk words of affirmation. Like I am going to like hit your spot. I'm telling kids consistently, I'm like, yo, visualize it right before it happens and tell yourself how it's going to go. Right? Right in your head. Tell yourself how it's going to go, how you're going to execute. I am going to put it here.
Yep.
I am going to throw it in the seam, rather than that little voice of hesitation, because that translates into your physical. So I don't know. It comes down to, like you said, like the first question was, who are these coaches, right? I've been blessed to like be around, whether it's being around a great coaching staff at NDSU, being around a culture, a D2 culture, to where it was like a little bit more I oriented, and then like want to be that person that I always like. Now that I've always wanted to be remembered for playing, like not playing football, but just being respected in my community, whether it's like within the playing community or now it's like I want respect in my peers in the coaching community. How does that happen? I got to go search for information. I got to surround myself with individuals, whether it's, you know, asking questions or reading books about people that have done it before. So now it's like, you know, Bill Walsh is someone big that I look up to, like, even though he's, you know, RIP, his books, his literature. There's this new book about Bill Belichick and Al Davis and Mike Lombardi. It's called Gridiron Genius, and he just talks about instances throughout his time being associated with Bill Belichick and Al Davis and all those cats, about like kind of what made them who they are. And I feel like if you're gonna be prolific, you have to accept the journey of other people. Like if you don't study the journey of others and how they got there, you're not, you know, optimizing just your tools, because
There's already
inspiration,
a
once again,
game plan for you. You know,
yeah,
like
there's already, it's out there. Like you gotta watch videos on YouTube about, you know, certain guys and what they failed with and what they went through, because then it's going to add inspiration to the way you go about your process. Like, oh, he went through it, I can go through it, you know, because it's like what I'm going through right now. Like I got kids like that are getting scholarships, and my younger kids are looking at them and saying, hey, if he can do it, I can do it. It all comes down to affirmation and believing, because you're going to fail, but how can I lace my mind with whether it's inspiration or more process or yada 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 to get to where I want to be, to prepare me for that instance of failure, so I don't fail twice, so I don't fail 3 times the same way. So
exactly.
it's
And then like you say, like learn, you know, looking at somebody else's game plan, you know, one of my favorite quotes is like, um, you know, a smart man learns from his mistakes and a wise man learns from others. And it's like, shit, if we can eliminate one failure, even though it's gonna happen, but we can we can check one off the box because we saw somebody else do it and now we know not to do it. Like that's the evolution of everything. And
okay.
I mean, I've noticed, you know, you've said affirmations a few times. Like, you know, I'm into meditation and affirmations as well. Kind of do like well, I've been slacking a little bit lately, to be honest, but I do kind of a gratitude prayer kind of thing in the mornings after I meditate, where either I'm sending good vibes to somebody or I'm telling myself like I can do basically anything I want. Like, what's the affirmation system like in your life? Because I have a feeling there's something there for you.
Yeah, just so through reading, you know, so through reading, and like we talked about, like emotional intelligence has been brought up a little bit in this conversation. Like I don't have any PhD, I don't have like a deep schooling in this stuff. Like I said, I've been riding the wave of curiosity and just learning about how important that other person in your head is, because you're consistently having a line of communication with yourself. And now over time, like learning how things are going to be more decisive and more effort driven when you tell yourself you are going to do something, and being a little bit nicer to yourself, and just learning about those couple of things. And I've always said, like, like I brought up with my mom, like I've always been supported when I believe in myself, right? To where I'm completely positive that, like, I am going to make this abstract career into a profession, right? Why? Because I know in my heart, like, this is what I love to do and this is what I want to do. And I've been bred my whole life to do this, right? And it's an affirmation to where it's like, it's a belief, right? And that I don't know, it's an energy that I possess, and I feel like it's something to where I can share it with my clients. I can share it with my community. It's not any, I don't think, like scientific, like, oh, I wake up in the morning and say this 5 times.
Right.
It's literally how I feel. It's how I feel in my heart about myself and what I can do, because I'm a man of many failures, whether it's me failing off the field, whether it's me failing on the field. In all reality, yeah, I was a good high school football player. I was an okay college football player, but I was average. I'm a college football player that nobody will ever remember. Nobody will be like, hey, I remember you playing. That's who I was.
Right.
I was average.
Right.
And now, how do I put my soul that's in purgatory of being average to rest? It's by continuing to execute on that passion to originally be who I set out to be. Because nobody, like, not a lot of society gets to really chase what they love for their whole life. Like, I'm chasing my love that I've had since 7th grade, or since 7 years old. I've wanted to be a football player since 7 years old, and I'm still getting to chase it because I'm still in love with myself, first off, to where it's like, when you can commit to something you love, it's like, okay, I will go through whatever it takes to get this done.
Straight up. But yeah, no, to that point too, is like, at this point now for you in the coaching realm, like, I relate exactly what you're saying with, like, I've just had this like belief that, once I graduated college, or maybe even before college, I kind of made up my mind, like, and I heard it from somebody else, I don't know who to give credit to, but I'm going to use football. I'm not going to let football use me. And just, I've taken that like approach, and then graduate and kind of work in a shitty job after graduation. Before that first year in Europe, I was like, okay, I don't ever want a real job. And it in the beginning, it sounds crazy, but now I'm going on year 5 or 6 over here, in the process of, I haven't been back in the States for a year now. It's probably going to end up being a couple years before, I've said in my mind, I'd like to try and be completely independent, permanent in Europe. And when you first say it, like, I believe it, but nobody really else does. But then after you get a little bit of success with it, and it's like, oh, so I have been thinking this, I have been believing in myself, and now it's came to fruition. Like, shit, anything is possible, and so it's like, I feel like, similar with you is like, I think when we talked a couple of years back, I'd be interested to hear how your mind is shifted with the goals of Left Coast and everything. Like, you wanted to kind of maybe expand it or whatever. And it's like, at the time, I remember us talking, and it was kind of like, I think I can, but I don't know for sure. But now, like 2-3 years down the road, like with the continued success over, it's like that idea, if it's still there, like, you can do it,
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you start to find these little wins, and then the next step is to find the next hill to climb, because you gotta stay driven, you gotta stay inspired, you gotta figure out ways to continue to make yourself smarter or better or more consistent. And it comes, like, I work off fear a little bit. I work off a lot of it of fear, because, like, I'm fearful of not being who I want to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you said, like, I want to do this, and there's part of me that's like, if I don't do this, I will hate myself. My moral will be so bad, my energy will be so bad, I'll be depressed. Like, me not executing on that drives me. I'm gonna get anxious. Like, I get anxious when I don't work. Why? Because I think there's somebody out there that's executing on my dream more than I am. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're going to earn the respect of being the best quarterback developer, I'm going to take, if you want to wake up at 6 a.m. and go out there and work, I'm not going to make it, like, I'm going to go and do it. If you want to go out there at 8 o'clock at night, like, I don't have like a girlfriend. I don't have a family. Like, I'm committing to myself right now. Right. To where if I don't execute on these things, or I go out drinking on a Saturday night, or have a Sunday fun day and watch the Chargers, which I do every once in a while, but like those days after, I'm beating myself up. Why? Right. Because I'm not doing what I need to do to execute on what I eventually want to do. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It kind of drives me to where it's like, yo, get your ass out there, right? Like,
yeah, I, you know, I agree. And I didn't think when you first started that, I didn't think I was going to agree, like the running on fear or whatever, because like in my mind, you know, it's like, you don't want to do that. But then as you were saying that, I thought like about myself, and I'm like, I don't consider I have too many fears in life. I used to be scared of spiders. I'm really not,
we're not talking about those fears though.
Yeah.
We're
like,
not talking about, we're talking about your emotional fears.
No, exactly. It's like, you know, I'm not trying to be tough when I say for whatever reason, I'm not really scared of dying for whatever reason. But my one fear when someone asks me that now is like, I'm scared of like not living the life that I want, you know, like, and that's like what I would say my one true fear is. And
it drives you.
yeah, and it drives the fuck out of me, you know, like, yeah, for sure, man. No, it's, and no, that's a good one, man. That's a really, really good one. I'd thought about it, but I hadn't, like I said, I thought I was going to disagree with you. And then I'd like, oh no, exactly. Yeah. Okay. No, for sure.
I don't know. It's a competitive market where I'm at. So it's like, I'm always trying to work. I'm always trying to figure out like how I can, whether it's commit to a client, or, you know, go out of my way to service somebody, whether it's driving up to Irvine or driving out to the inland, like Empire area, or the southeast of San Diego, and, you know, just not being that person that's like, oh, you can't work with me because blah blah blah. Like, it's not hard to get a hold of me. I'm trying to take on everything and everyone. Obviously I can't do it by myself, but like I posted a little caption about something the other day. It's like, I want to be used up, like, because the more I work, the more I live. Like, I feel like, of course, yeah, everybody gets to say like, oh yeah, that's your work, but yeah, I'm really not working because this is what I love to do. Like, you know, it's like, I get to go out there, play pass, and teach you how to like be a quarterback, you know, and be, you know, execute on the things that I didn't go right on. But I don't know, it all comes back to just that love. You continuing to live, right? Live for a living.
For sure. No, bro. I mean, like, that's, like I said, that's why I like having guys like you on. It's just the passion, you know, and it's tough, you know. I feel bad for a lot, and I'm not trying to like look down on anybody, but like, I feel bad because I know a lot of people either, one, don't know what that passion is or what it is. Mm-hmm. And then two, if they do, they don't know a way to like monetize it or live off of it, you know, in the sense that they can just wake up and it's like, yeah, I'm going to go work with these kids, but that's the thing I want to be going to do, you know. There's not a something that's in front of it, you know.
You got to do it for a very long time. It's not like you can just pick up your love at the age of 28 and say, oh, well, this is my love and I'm going to monetize it. Exactly. This has been a lifelong journey. I've been committing to the love of my life since I've been 6 years old. And if you did that, if you were an artist since 6 years old and decided to paint, you're probably at a very good stage of your life because you weren't scared to commit. You know what I'm saying? But it's hard to be like, oh, because it's like my mom, she always tells a story to me. She's like, I grew up on the East Coast and I was in a Catholic family, and I told my dad I wanted to go to art school. And he said, no, you're going to go to a university that will give you an opportunity to do something with the degree that can actually make you a living, because artists don't make money. And that's what she wanted to do. And you're like all these little pictures up here, right? That's my mom's, right? She's
Oh,
still painting.
sick,
So
man.
where it's like now she's finding she's getting back into it, but like we have that conversation. It's like she's like if I would have committed as a little girl to being an artist at a young age and been fearless and just said fuck it, I'm gonna go. She's like I would have a different path, right? Right.
Right. Yeah, no,
So who
dude,
knows?
that
But
the one with the palm tree and that like pretty much middle one. I noticed the second we logged on, I was like, damn, that one's I mean, they're all
yeah,
good, but that one really speaks to me.
yeah, they're all like local little areas too. So it's I don't know, she's good at what she does. It's her little thing to get away from all the stresses in the world. But yeah,
That's
man,
sick.
it's
No, no,
it's empowering.
to your point too, like, I've now, when I first kind of did the Euro thing, a couple of my buddies who were, caught up in making money, the rat race kind of life, were like, dude, what are you doing? Because like that's never been my goal, like being a CEO or being, having $1 million was never like number one. Like, yeah, it'd be cool, don't get me wrong, but that was never like the motivating factor. And I get into this kind of position where now, like I say, I consider myself, I'm living my dream. I'm not living someone else's dream. Everyone else, they have their own dream. Figure that shit out on your own and then try and go for it. And people be like, oh, you're lucky you get to do what you want and this and that. And it's like, yeah, I am in a way, but also like, as you put it, I've been doing this since 9 years old, struggling through, high school didn't go at all how I wanted it to. From JUCO to transferring North Dakota, transferring, being home for a semester, like just the path was a lot of like you could consider not lucky, some of the breaks that I got, but just that continued belief that you finally break through. And it literally took, if we're going to say from day one that I started playing football, it took 20 years to get to this point now where like I'm, I moved to Finland next week and they're going to pay me for the entire off season being there, and like, what, like,
Yeah,
like I didn't even know that was possible when I started this shit. And so like how you said is like, you got to put the time in. And that's how I see right now with the podcast is I know eventually I can't sling it for a living. And so I look at this as like, I'm year one in the podcast game. If something pops off before year 10 or year 5, like that's a blessing, but I'm not even expecting it to, because I understand how the game works, and not the podcast game, not football game, but just any game
yeah,
where like you got to put your time in. That it's cliche, but no such thing as the overnight success or whatever.
yep.
And
It's
but
that marathon mentality. Yep,
marathon, yep. And I love all your videos lately got the nips in it. I
yep.
think, although I think the one I made, I put Nipsey in it too. I mean,
You did.
Nipsey's the best.
Yeah, he's a goat, man.
Let's I mean, dude, we just killed that. I mean, like, there's so much gold in there, but I want to know a little bit more about just like your story. Um, and like going from, like we've mentioned, we have very similarities. And so like, I think we both can have some good little inputs on this, but like going from, you said you were a good high school guy, but did you have some other offers outside of NDSU, and like what made you go NDSU?
Yeah, so I was a little bit of an anomaly. I was like 5'11" and 165 pounds, but shorts and a t-shirt. Like I was a very good mover. I was very like could run with the football. Didn't have a very desirable, I didn't pass the eye test.
Right.
So not a lot of schools were on me. I went to my quarterback coach had an intuition that we were going to meet somebody at the Nebraska camp. His quarterback coach / offense coordinator, Sean Watson, was the quarterback coach in Nebraska at the time.
Okay.
So we went out there and there was a whole bunch of satellite coaches that were like FCS, D2. So he's like, oh, you'll impress somebody. So I ended up meeting Coach Vegan, and he recruited me. So I had like VMI, James Madison, and NDSU. Those were the 3 schools that were talking to me. NDSU ended up offering me, and pretty much as soon as I got it, after I got the, like, I remember Coach Bull, he's like, I want to see you before you take off back home. And then he met me in the airport, and then they offered me right before I got on the plane. And then I was like, on the plane, I was like, I'm coming. Like, this is exactly what I want. This is exactly what I want. I wanted a school that like had a lot of pride in their community. Had it was a college football field, and I got that tenfold. Like, it's one of the best feelings in the whole United States, in spite of it being in, North Dakota. But
Yes.
ended up getting to go out there, and still they they had a lot of expectation for me. I'm not saying it like the expectation, like, it was good. They valued me. They thought I was a good recruit, a good quarterback, and they put me in situations to play at a young age. So I traveled as a freshman. Wasn't the
As a
backup.
true freshman?
As I was a true freshman traveling.
Okay.
And I was redshirted, but if anything happened, they never said that. But yeah, they were grooming me.
Yeah.
I was the only freshman that like wasn't staying home. And then my sophomore year, we were supposed to be, or my freshman year, my redshirt freshman year, we were like ranked number 4 in the nation,
Okay.
preseason, and then heavy senior class. And then we ended up getting knocked out of the playoffs with 4 games left. And the kid was a senior. And then they ended up benching him for me to see how I would do, to see how and that was some of the best ball I ever played, because there was nobody behind me crawling my ass. It was just kind of go out there and play. So did well. I think I went 2-2. My first game, we played Missouri State. We won. Threw my first touchdown on a 2-yard route. The fullback took it up the sideline. So yeah, and then we played 2 more games. I went 500. The next year, they weren't sold on me, right? Because I had off the field issues. I wasn't being the person I needed to be, right? And that's why I always talk about purgatory, because I didn't handle my moment of like, yo, this is who you've always wanted to be. You're here, and you don't handle it the right way, because I was so caught up in all these other things, and it's really easy, but like, I didn't execute how I needed to execute. So somebody outperformed me on the field and off the field. So I ended up winning the competition going into my sophomore year. And I started my first 4 games of my sophomore year, and then ended up getting a concussion. And then the kid that was a year younger than me came in, and he balled out. He threw 4 touchdowns in the second half, and rightfully so. Like, he was a better quarterback than me. He handled things better than I was. He was a better quarterback. He could produce better than I did. And yeah, he got handed the keys to the car. And then the next spring, they basically, at Ndsu, Coach Bull had come into my kitchen, right? Had dinner with the house, and that was the thing. He was telling parents that was their thing. You have a scholarship here. If you're the backup, if you're the 3rd string guy, if you get hurt 5 years, you have a scholarship here, right? And then I started to get in trouble off the field. And then I wasn't the starter. And then it was like, okay, how do we get rid of this guy? So he ended up pulling me in the office and having that conversation with me, like, yo, you're going to be the 3rd string. You're going to hold a clipboard the whole time. Like, we feel like your development is done. Like, we know who you are as a player, blah, blah, blah. And I was shook by that. At the time, I was like, I was feeling sorry for myself. Like, yeah, you're a jerk, but no, he was right.
Yeah.
He was exactly right. Yeah. I wasn't proving to him, I couldn't allow him to go to bed feeling good about me. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't checking those boxes. So.
And you're like 20, 21 at this time, basically,
20,
right?
I'm 20. Yeah, I'm 20 years old, and I walked out of that meeting crying. Like, I hadn't even got down, like, out of the Fargo Dome, and I think I'd called my mom, and I was like, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Like, I'm leaving. I'm gone. Like, I don't feel wanted, blah, blah, blah. Like, I wish I would have stayed, but like, with hindsight, but no, like, I left, and I went to Central, and then, same thing kind of happened. Like,
what was like the thought process with, like, you kind of have to go D2 because of
you got to go down.
Like, how'd Central come up?
Scholarship. It was scholarship, right? Any team that was going to offer me a scholarship and had the opportunity to play some pretty good ball. And Central's a good team. Like, they got good football there. So ended up getting recruited. Blaine, I forgot his name. He got me in there, basically told me I'd have an opportunity, and it was basically just they had a kid that they liked, and he was their starter, and I was the insurance policy.
Okay.
And then once again, I fell by the wayside, just feeling sorry for myself, and not taking school serious, or not taking everything serious. I stayed consistent. I eventually got an opportunity. Like, the kid ended up hurting himself, so I started the last 4 games of the season. But it was always just such an up and down thing. Like, I struggled from 18 to I struggled from 18 to like 24, and I even still have days that I struggle, and I let that person still out. Like, it's always in there. Like, but I have more purpose now. I have more, like, I have something I'm working towards. Like I said, like, I will not be denied to have the respect of my peers in my community. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I want. And I know sometimes I'm not that person anymore, but I'm still going to go out and have fun and, be loose. But now it's
yeah, we had a good old time our day in San Diego with a little burger, a little drink, Yeah, we had a fun
exactly.
day.
It's definitely it's mandatory that you let those times, like, come about through your life. But at that age, it's like, it's so brand new. Like, all these little sins are so brand new, whether it's having my own apartment and having the ability to have girls over, or, being able to skip out on a class and nobody being like, yo, wake your ass up, Jose.
Yeah.
Like, I have all these decisions and I'm just not executing properly. I look great on the football field. Like, I'll make you miss in a phone booth, I'll be able to throw it, like, on time. Like, I look great, but then the added stress and the emotions of all these other factors in my life not being there added anxiety to me, and didn't give me the full potential that I needed to. So, I continued to set myself up for, not, it's not saying I'm like, I was out there, always in harm's way. I just wasn't executing how I think, like, now understanding, oh, what a high level quarterback, or what a high level person entails, like, reading about it, seeing it, now understanding the way I went about my career is like, oh, I definitely wasn't executing in the right way,
Yeah.
And you got to be taught that stuff. Like, you're not supposed to be born with an elite talent. Of course, like, oh, well, that guy was born out of the womb. No, he grew up around a family of coaches, right? He was taught, he saw, he became a creature of this culture. And, NDSU was a very, very, very high level culture, right? And they've been originally known for having a high level culture, right? But I still just couldn't handle the feats of committing every instance of my life. Like I said earlier, the whole decision decides destiny. Like,
no, for sure. It's dude, it's weird. Like I said, the similarities, and it's nice to hear, in a way, like, we're, in a way, not trying to tell sob stories or anything, but, like, it's nice to hear, like, the relatability of, I went to UND, and I went from JUCO, and kind of opposite, like you said, is at UND, we were run heavy. Like, it was basically don't lose the game kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I just come from JUCO, where I'd led the nation in yards per game, touchdowns, and interceptions, because we were slinging it, and so, like, that, going from that to that was like this, like, I knew I could do it, but then the coaches just gave me, like, negative confidence almost, and ended up starting beat out a 5th-year senior my sophomore year, my first year there. And then we did all right. I think I was 4-2 as a starter, with our 2 losses being Idaho and Fresno. And then, just like you said, just off the field, like, I ended up, the week we played Cal Poly, and, well, like I said, we were a pretty run heavy team. That week, though, I got caught cheating in my accounting class, and it was like the teacher was kind of cool about it and was like, okay, I'm not going to, like, blow your spot. Like, it was me and the 3rd string quarterback, actually, who got caught. And he's like, I'm not going to tell the coaches this and that, but all that shit's going on in my mind. And then we go into the game, and, like, I mean, I can't really remember it now, but we threw the ball like 16 times in the first quarter and a half. And I think the most I'd thrown in a game before that was like 18 times all game,
Yeah.
And so I can remember, and I sucked that quarter. I think I started like 3 for 16 with 2 picks and like a missed touchdown, but get pulled, and then like like you, the backup comes in. We don't end up winning, but he like brought it almost all the way back, and then he was the guy. He kind of just like we ended up winning the rest of the games and just kind of struggled to win all the games, but still we won them. And then that off season, they bring in well, that off season in the spring meeting, the teacher ended up telling the coaches about cheating. And so now I'm looked at as like kind of a problem, kind of a punk, you know, knucklehead. And those guys kind of already looked at me that way, I think, because I don't know, I was coming from the Bay. I was all about wearing a visor, having a little swag, and I don't know, at UND, swag like was not cool, you know, like that's not what they wanted. And so they brought in a 5th-year senior transfer from North Carolina that I battled during the spring with, and that was like my best ball I've ever played, like hands down best ball I've ever played. Spring game, balled out, but I knew that they didn't want me to be the guy. You know, I was just the insurance policy completely of like, if shit goes wrong with this guy, we got this new recruit that's going to redshirt next year, and you know, we're going to figure out a way for him to beat you out next year, basically. And so I told we finished the spring game. I went like 250, 2 touchdowns. Other guy went like 60. You know, it was a spring game, but I balled. And the head coach was in the booth announcing the game, like with the local guy. And I mean, you could literally hear him when I was making throws go like, like, damn it, you know, like, now I'm gonna have to figure out a new way to maneuver, like how I'm gonna get this other guy as the guy. And you know, I went back and coached running backs at New Haven, the D2 school I went to, and so I've been in the coaches meetings now, and I mean, like, dude, those discussions are fucking ruthless at time, you know, like what some coaches are saying about kids. And so it made my eyes open, like, oh, that's what they were saying about me in these coaches meetings. And so long story longer, ultimately I knew after spring game I'm leaving, and I went in spring meeting and was like, hey, I'm done, you know, I'm gonna leave. And they look at me like, what, you just had 250 and 2 touchdowns in the spring game, like and I was talking to the OC. I go, yeah, but I know the guy upstairs doesn't want me. I mean, guy upstairs being the head coach, not God, but like, I know he doesn't want me to be the guy, you know? So like, why am I gonna waste my time? And I mean, again, it was unlike NDSU, and I'm not trying to talk shit about, but it wasn't a high quality group of individuals there. And so this head coach called my dad and basically just lied to him and said like I was his guy and he needs to convince me to stay. And so I stay, I go through summer camp, all that. And then a week before spring or summer camp starts, prospectus comes out. I'm number 2. They say Braden's our guy, blah, blah, blah. And my dad calls me. He's like, you got to leave. And I'm like, man, fuck you. I told you this was going to happen, you know? And so like, and then just to complete the similarities, like I looked up, all right, D2, who throws it? Who has a senior quarterback? Because I was going to go there mid-year. Senior quarterback, who throws it? And who wins and who's got some money, you know? And all my arrows pointed to New Haven, and back to the idea of like, I'm just going to make this happen. Like it happened, you know? And so, no, it's like I said, long story longer, but it makes me feel good from a personal level to be like, oh, I'm not the only one, because we all have this like human nature idea in our mind that like, oh, I'm the only one struggling with this issue or whatever. And just talking about this shit helps.
Oh yeah. Well, most often people are not success stories, especially when it comes down to football, because, you know, we watch Sundays and it's like, those are less than 1%. And it's like, it feels good. You feel a little bit of ease when you hear, you know, other people's failures. So I'm with you.
For sure. Yeah. There's only one Tom Brady, you know?
Yeah, right.
Like
Yep.
there's how many, I mean, we could probably go back in the last 16 years, how many 6-round draft picks there's been, quarterbacks or any
Yeah.
position for that matter,
Yeah.
and
It's
to
like a
do
lottery
what he's
ticket.
done, you know, like there's it's just the law of averages, or, you know, the law of numbers, or whatever you want to call it. And I mean, it's humbling. But so when you got done with Central though, you just still had
It
the
was
itch.
Europe.
Like what was the thought process with Europe?
Yeah, it was still like I had like I was young, you know. It's like I'm not gonna what want to go work a real job and go like, you know, hang out on a construction site and like hold a shovel and do stuff that I don't, you know, want to do, or go work in a restaurant. Like I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to do anything like that. Like I'm gonna go out there and play. I'm gonna go play football. So I went out to Germany, right? Played for the Braunschweig Lions,
Yeah.
New Yorker Lions. The first year I went out there, ended up tearing my ACL the fourth game, and
Okay.
you know, super fortunate that I was with a really good organization,
Yeah.
awesome coach and Coach Tomlin. They took care of me. I stayed out there. I rehabbed. Um, you know, it was a great experience just to be in the culture for 10 months. And then after that, ended up coming back to Germany and played for the Cologne Falcons.
Okay.
They're not in the GFL anymore, but yeah, went out there, played for a year, and then went out to Italy for a year. Eventually, like after I got done with the GFL, then it was like, okay, just go see go see these countries.
Yeah.
So that's like basically where I started to fall in love with coaching. Because when I went to the smaller countries, then I was a player coach, right?
Yep.
Like you said, you're the QBOC. So like I'm running film meetings and having to communicate with like all this like nonverbal, because you know my guy's like, what is the play? I'm like, hey, no, compito, like slow down, you speak too fast, and I'm just like, oh fuck, dude, like getting all upset, and like so I'm just trying to figure out like on the fly like how to be a coach. I didn't know what I was doing. Like I was just, you know, learning on the run. So that kind of gave me a profound love for what I do now. But like in between when I was coming home, I was doing this. I was quarterback training. But
Okay.
then out in Europe, played out there, and then ended up breaking my ankle in Switzerland my fourth year out there. So it was only two times I got injured in my career. Like we're
Damn.
like in Europe. So I tore my ACL, and in my fourth year I broke my ankle, and it was what Dak did, right? My ankle was like hanging the opposite way. The Swiss doctor comes out and he's like, "Who's a Swiss German?" He's like, "What is wrong with your ankle?" And I said, "What, dude? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Look at my foot." And then like you know how they have like the Disneyland sidewalks, like the Disneyland like gravel on the sidewalk. So they put me on the gurney, right? And
Okay.
like I'm on the hospital bed, and like they're just chilling, and my ankle's chilling there. They haven't put it back into place. It's just like chilling. A blanket's over it so nobody can see it. And the paramedics start pushing me onto like the gravel side thing where it's like the little like it's like yeah,
Oh,
and the cart starts going like this like and I'm like ah.
your ankle's
I was
just like real.
yeah. I'm like, how have you guys not learned? Like, yo, this is bumpy. Like, this is insecure. But yeah, that was a crazy time because I told myself before the season, like not before the season, like if I ever got hurt again,
Yeah.
I'm done. Like
Okay.
I don't want to be like the person that's like forcing the issue. Like I'm already an undersized guy. Like I even felt like hurt, you know, the day after games all the time. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's getting towards like, you know, the end. I don't want to be taking a beating. So after like that car ride, like that paramedics ride, I was just so emotional because I was like, it's over. It's
Damn.
over. Like this isn't how I wanted it to end, but it's over. Like and you get to figure it out. But it was cool because they ended up making me basically like the head coach over there. And yeah, that's where it kind of started. You get to deal with a whole bunch of like snobby French kids, like these Swiss
Where
French
where
kids.
in Switzerland were you?
Lausanne, in
Okay.
Lausanne, so it's the Swiss province of, or French province of Switzerland, right? And I've seen a post about like years about soccer, right, and how it's just like it's a little bit different to where like how they deal with like violence or how they deal with um, you know different forms of adversity in the
Yeah.
football world.
Yeah.
And you know it was unique because I coached a youth team I would have cats come out there and be like, oh, where's your mouthpiece? And they'd like just put a sock in their mouth, and they'd be like wearing like a pajama t-shirt over their like their shoulder pads, and it was just great, like, because then you get to figure out what type of coach you are. Who are you? If you're a good coach, you can take these people that like don't understand and get them to somewhat understand. And the same thing comes back to quarterback coaching. It's like there's a lot of people, that are in this business that have a whole bunch of good guys, but it's like, yeah, they were good before you got them.
Exactly.
Or where it's like, that's the testament of a good coach. Can you be patient enough to like make somebody that really has no skillful? So
no, that's the thing I've noticed so much from and gained out here from coaching with like the language barriers is like you figure out like the most simple and short way to explain things, because I mean now I'm learning other languages, and if you go more than 6-7 words in a sentence, you lost me, and so like like, and so everything I'm doing, coaching receivers on stay flat, and then you say it a couple times and you're like, maybe they don't even know what I mean. So then, hey, so when I say this, I mean that, like, and so you have to break it down like all the way to the very base. And I feel like that has like elevated my game. Whereas then you go back in the States sometimes, and the reason I left Finland 2 years back was because of this American coach we had who like touted himself as this like NFL kind of guy and stuff. And he could really talk the talk. Like, I mean, he was fun to talk to, like me and him. But when he's talking to our import Hungarian tight end who doesn't really speak English that well, like you need to tell David he blocks down or he runs out. You can't say, hey, if he's lining up in a wide 9-eye and or if he shifts down into the 7, you're going to need to bang him and then pirouette out. Like, no, David he's going to nod and say, yes, coach, but he doesn't know what the hell you're saying. And so like, then being able to see kind of the opposite was like, okay, like that's how valuable it is. And then translating that back to just coaching in college where everyone's speaking English, but you keep it simple and there's no problems ever because there's not confusion. If the less amount of words are in a sentence, the less words you can fuck up, so that's been like my like major takeaway from coaching out here in Europe. And for you to say the sock and as a mouth guard, I mean, just some of the stories, bro, is like it truly makes you appreciate the game. And like you gotta love it, like when you're coaching guys who show up when I've had a guy show up in like flip-flops and I'm like, where's your cleats at? And he's like, I forgot them. I'm like, and you're gonna practice? And he's like, yeah.
Oh yeah,
like,
they're out there.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. That's like, what am I gonna do? Like, most of like the lesser leagues or even like youth teams, like they're paying to be on the team. Like, I'm not gonna tell this kid he's not gonna practice today. If he wants to practice, he drove here. Fuck it, you can practice.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's really tough. It's like you get all these Americans like over to Europe and like, oh, they're not this way and they're not this way. And it's like, yeah, because they're not like as vetted as you are. It's like, yeah, this is like your kind of what you've been brought up of. This is like their new hobby. Like, this guy just like when I was in like Italy, it's like, yeah, this is like a bona fide drinking team.
That's exactly what I said. I try to I explained to people, I'm like, it's these guys' hobby. Like they all go to work, they all play. Like, imagine we all have a homie who's on the softball team, local softball team that's competitive as hell, and that guy's taking batting practice. They're having practices, but at the end of the day, it's just fun. They're pissed when they lose, but that's the closest kind of like comparison I can say is like an extremely competitive slow pitch softball that's how I think of it.
Small countries, it's like they don't got money to give. They're not like the Germanys and the Austrias and the Chinas, like all those guys. They got a whole bunch of backing. They got a whole bunch of cheese. But when you go to these small places, it's like, yeah, all these guys are like dads. Like we got like 50-year-old dudes out there like that just like, oh yeah, I'm a badass. I drive a Hummer and I still want to play American football. It's like nobody has a Hummer in, in Europe, and then not many people play American football. It's like they
Yeah.
just get caught up in it. It's like I just started playing, so it's definitely cool, but it comes back once again, like, you got to be good with dealing with people, right? And knowing what situation you're in. Like, oh, I'm not going to be a dick. Nobody's going to dislike me because I'm not too, like, I know they're not as intense like as I am. So I'm going to like let back a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Or I'm going to try to treat this like the NFL when it's like, this is the Czech Republic,
Yeah.
not the NFL, like this. So you have to understand like where these guys are coming from. And it's hard. It's hard for like we're in just such an egotistical driven society, like at least culture within football.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I know everything. I have all the answers. I've been doing this forever. This is the way we did it where I was at, and it's worked. So why doesn't it work here?
Yeah.
A lot
No,
of different things go into that.
that's been my biggest, that's been something I've really evolved with over my last like 5-6 years out here. Is like in the beginning, like I was in Portugal, it was known going into it that like they'd only had a league for like 7 years. So I knew, but like still at times, I'd probably be a little bit too extreme, and just dialing it back. And like, I think my second year in Poland, or second year, we played in Serbia in like an international game and we lost. It was like the International Cup Championship or whatever. And I was pissed, like we'd just done a 20-hour bus ride to get there. We had a chance to win, but we just didn't. And I'm pretty mad and sad about it. And everybody else is drinking a beer, like having fun. Hey, Joey, hey. And it just made me check myself. And I was like, lighten up, bro. Like, this isn't the end of the world. This isn't the NFL, like, as long as you're being a good person and playing and doing, like, you're going to be remembered in a good way. And as you've said, like, I want to be remembered for, like, I want to be remembered for the person I am. And I understand that we've already said it, that football is a vehicle for me to express myself and be the person I like to be. And so I've really been over the years like learning to deal with that, where it's like, okay. And it's tough because when it's like your livelihood and it's just their hobby, like there's this weird disconnect. But then if you can just be straight up and like, hey guys, I know no one's making money here. I get that. Understand, this is how I'm making money. Let's just meet in the middle. And I've done that the last like 2 teams I've been on, and it's like, all right, we're with you.
Yeah.
Like that's cool. Like it kind of just goes back to honesty is the best policy. But like, do you want to ever, like, do you just see yourself right now as just being the individual coach, or is there ever like, do you want to maybe get back into being an OC or a head coach at some point?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, right now it's about trying to figure out how to make myself like, of course I get to do what I love, but also I want to create a career for myself because I need to make a living.
Yeah.
Right. And that's finding a way to make my brand strong enough. Right. And with that comes a very long process. Like, I have to be very consistent with raising a community of quality quarterbacks. So I'm just letting it happen one day at a time. And once again, it comes back down to people. So how did I make people feel? I'm going to probably cross paths. I may have already crossed paths with that person, that they continue to see my heart and my commitment to my community. And they say, yo, I want to help this person out. I want to help lift them up and bring them up a higher level. And I'm just trying to continue to not burn bridges and be competitive and make myself smarter. But I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be offensive coordinator or where I'm going to be. I'm just letting myself kind of go day by day and just take care of my garden, take care of my kids. Like, that's what kind of scares me. If I'm not there for my community, then, somebody else will be, or they won't be working. So it's like, it's just staying here for these kids and and getting a consistent track record. Like my main goal is to help make San Diego, along with the other coaches, like I'm not the only part of it. Like it's a large factor. The other coaches, the style of people that are in our community, but we need to make this spot a quarterback cesspool. So when college coaches come down from, wherever they come down, the Pacific Northwest or the Midwest or the South, they don't just circle LA.
Yeah.
They are like, okay, there's a perennial, like there's something going down here in San Diego. And I hope whether it's me doing my thing and inspiring another coach to be better than me in San Diego, that's going to make the community better. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just as the other coaches in SoCal drive me to be a better quarterback, because, it's that QB1 thing. I don't want to be the worst. I don't want to be second fiddle. I don't want to be third. I want to be the best. And I know other people think that way. So like me being aggressively like passionate about what I'm doing, I know I'm driving other people and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I really hope this community gets the respect it deserves, because it's all about the kids. It's all about them being able to do what they want. And when it comes down to, me closing my eyes for the final breath, I'll be able to go to sleep happy, because I've had an impact in the world. I've had an impact in people. It's not like how much money's in your bank account. It's not, it's have I changed the world? And in my little pocket, I have. Like, I'm changing kids' lives. I'm teaching them to be a little bit, better than they were the day before. So who knows where it's going to take me, but I'm just kind of the plastic bag in the wind right now, just being aggressive, trying to be the best quarterback coach / person I can be, I guess. So I want to coach. I want to be perennially known to where it's like, yo, you come to SoCal, you come to San Diego. It's like a lot of people come through here. Like,
that's who you're working with.
Off season. Yeah. That's the guy.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to go enjoy, the fruits of San Diego, but I'm also going to go have a time to go with somebody that's going to make me better, whether it's emotionally or physically. So, that's slowly going down, but I know, like we said earlier, it's like, it's a marathon. I'm not going to just get that out of nowhere. Like, who in their right mind is going to trust somebody that doesn't have a track record? Like, whether you're a photographer or whether you're an artist or whether you're a podcaster, like, I need to see your portfolio. Like, what have you done? Just the right person hasn't seen it yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to make like obvious, like, I'm not trying to make proclamations like I'm the best or my kids are the best. I'm trying to make the stamp of like, yo, I'm consistent.
Yeah.
Like, it's out there. If you want to look at it. Like,
let the other person say that that's what you're the best, Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, my page, like my Instagram, my social media, it's all to add worth. I'm not one to be like, yo, my like blah, 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 like sell my stuff. Of course, like I could do that, but it's all to add, like, if it's a caption, it's either like an inspirational caption, like that has a little bit of mindset in there, or it's process driven to where you follow my page, you get worth. Like, kind of drives me nuts when kids are like, can you send me some drills? I'm like, yo, like, look at my page. It's like, it's all,
that's the whole page, bro. That's what it is.
It's all stuff that like can help you get better. So, but yeah, man, I don't know. It's a funky profession, because it's so, parents want to pay for quality. Parents want to pay for what can you do for my son. Can you plug them with the right people? Can you, give them a little post and tell people how good he is. And then, because it works, like, you have certain people that have been in this game that they're really good at what they do, and they're consistent. They've been doing it for a while, and college coaches listen to them. Like, I've been dealing with a tough thing in my life. Like, I'm like, dude, like, even the guy that recruited me won't follow me back on Twitter. Like, come on, man. Like, did I leave a bad taste in your mouth? Like, I'm just trying to, like, all these kids that I'm coaching, like, they're not going to go wrong where I went wrong. Like, I don't know. It's, so, and with that says, like, yo, I haven't stuck out. Like, I haven't had that consistency of like continually putting out Division I kids, but we're on our way. We're well on our way. And like, it's all taken part. It's just, they need to go play some football. So.
Yeah, I know. Are they supposed to play in the spring in California?
Yeah, I don't know. It's dealing with this new second wave, and like California just took us back into a different tier.
The purple zones and bullshit. Yeah,
exactly. It's all tiered up, but I don't know. The plan is to start December. It'll probably start January or something. But
Okay.
yeah, just trying to get out there, and that's the main way. It's like I can't help you with, you know, sending a text message to an FBS or an FCS coach, sending them a video of you throwing in shorts and a t-shirt. I can't do that for you. But what I
No.
can do is I can help you dominate on Friday nights. I can
Right.
help you, you know, have a clear mind to get you to go out and do it the way that you need to do it, which is like we said, let me see your resume. Let me see your body at work. What have you done with it? Yeah, you may have coached for 13 years, but you haven't done shit. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
haven't developed anybody. Or you may have had 20 starts in high school, but you guys sucked. So you don't deserve, and you didn't play very well. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like, I need you to go out there and I need you to dominate. Not I need you, like you need to, if that's what we set out to do. But you know, I feel like it's going down. It's cool because the culture is so competitive, you know. They get around each other. Like I said, I'm waking up early with certain kids, and then I had one kid. This is a little story I love to tell. Like I'm waking up early before school. Kid has a zero period, and then another one of my boys is like, "Yo, so what? You're not working out? Like you don't do your individual during the week?" And he's like, "No, I have football practice." And he's like, "Oh yeah, me and my brother wake up before school." And then the next week I get a text from the kid. He's like, "Yo, coach, can you wait? Can you train before school?" And I was like, "Fuck yes!"
Let's
Like
go.
the culture is building itself. Like, you know, like they see one person doing it and it's like, oh god, yeah, he's outworking me. Like that's the fear tapping in. It's like, oh shit, if he's out there.
And that's the
Like
beauty of
somebody
the
else.
social media that I talked about it very negatively in the beginning, but shit, that's a very positive thing about it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's my flex. My flex is I'm going to show you like I'm always out there. You
Yeah,
know, like
no, you
I'm
are,
always out
man.
there. You know exactly. So it's I don't know. It's a cool thing to be a part of. We brought about it or talked about it earlier. You need to stay competitive, you know, which is something super important, you know, whether it's learning, whether it's taking that step forward or dealing with a certain thing that you're bad at. Like those are the things that are going to keep the mind sharp, keeps the mind surviving. Because once you have everything you need, it's like, I think you just start to dwindle away, you know? It's like
Yeah.
if you're not struggling or if you're not trying to progress or you have all the information you need, it's like, and where do I put all this energy and this like activity in here, you know? And if the brain's not being used, it's just not good for everything, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Is there any like mistakes you feel like you see being made in terms of getting recruited or like what's your little into the
The main
game?
thing is just don't be okay. Don't search with just trying to get a scholarship. That's not the game.
Right.
It's not the game. I don't train you to get a scholarship. I don't train you. I train you to make you a starter in college.
Mm-hmm.
It's like some people are just like,
Mm,
oh, I'm okay. I've got the scholarship. Cool. I get to post about it. Boom. The job's not over. You know what I'm saying? It's
totally.
like, and of course with social media, it's like, yeah, everybody's excited. Like, oh, you even have kids like, I want to thank the university, yada yada yada, for showing interest in me. What?
Yeah.
What? No. Like, that's not why you do this.
Yeah.
Like, you don't do it to get interest or, you know, just get a scholarship. It's like that's the tip of the iceberg. So it's it's the whole success disease thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's being complacent, not searching at a young age. Like I see a lot of people go wrong with wanting to be on the best teams, wanting to be on the best 7-on-7 team or be a part of this all-star team. And then instead of, you know, kind of committing to just the whole thing of finding success or finding affirmation rather than like being on the best and putting the priority on being the best at a young age or playing for the most prolific team rather than just kind of taking your journey and like figuring out how to fail within, you know, just your own little pocket. um it's different because it's everybody's driven off the likes right now. Everybody's
Yeah,
driven off.
no. Yeah, your tweet I loved was the one about the like 7-on-7 coaches stop doing show and go for, offensive plays and stuff because it's like, yeah, maybe it's going to go faster, but like what this isn't we're not running scout team for 7-on-7, like it's what
No,
development is being made. And it's not that hard to install 5 plays, 6 plays.
you're putting your kids like at a disadvantage, right? So the 7-on-7 culture, once again, like we had a kid at the high school I'm at, he's missing high school practice to go to a 7-on-7 culture or 7-on-7 team. And then that 7-on-7 team isn't uplifting football the way it needs to be uplifted. It's not like, oh, you're having to learn an offense. It's once again, it's like, okay, you do this, you do that. And it's tough because, oh, I'm doing it once again. Like, I'm putting myself, I want to be on the best 7-on-7 team. I need to go to this big tournament, blah, blah, blah. These things that seem that I need to be with the best coach. I need to be with like the person that can do the most for me. Or it's not working out at this high school. I need to go to this high school. It's not their fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And figure out how, like we said, when you're taking that L to the face, what type of integrity do you carry yourself with?
Right.
Right. Just because it's not working out immediately, it's like, I need to go and blah, 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 like jump ship. Right. But
and
our original.
Oh, I was just going to say, and then people don't like the act of having to start over again is like, it's difficult, you know, like it's yeah, you kind of get that, like, I'm the new toy feeling of like, oh yeah, here's our new guy. You know, you kind of get recruited or whatever, that little recruiting phase where they just love you up and you can't do anything wrong. But then the actual of like having to establish yourself and start over again, if you're changing high schools or college, I mean, like our situations kind of, I think we both ended up doing the right thing that was necessary. But like, when it's important to remember that just because you go there, like, you're going to have to establish yourself and put in the work and reestablish the respect from other people that I think that portion of bouncing around and doing the 7-on-7 stuff constantly gets completely overlooked.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like I said, just quit trying to be the number one at a certain age. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, I need to be the best, or I need to be this. It's like, just be the best version of yourself. We get so caught up with trying to compare ourselves, and then the parents get super caught up. The parents get caught up with playing the game of my kid versus your kid, or you're lucky to be training my kid because he's this person and he's done this at such a young age. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, often, like, those who succeed at a young age, they experience success so much that they eventually stop working because they've been told, right? Blah, blah, blah. And that's where it hurts. Like, I got an 8th grader, right? He's got a Florida State offer, or he's a freshman now. They started school. He's got a Florida State offer. And the biggest thing with him, it's like, yo, you're not going to be one of those kids that is everybody kisses his ass. You're going to be a person that is not higher up, right? Even though people are going to continue to walk up to you and sing your praises, you're going to be a person that's like a humble being, and you're going to be driven. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to make you feel, I'm going to bring you back down. It's like the whole rock star effect. Like, you get these cats like on SoundCloud or like Spotify, they start making this music, they hit a couple like good songs, and then eventually like their music sucks, and everybody that's around them is like, yo, your music's so sick. And then it's like, yeah, it's not really that good. Like, but everybody around you is telling you it's good, you know? So it's like, I feel like I get to be there and just kind of help bring these kids down. It comes down to those emotions, but it's just putting in the right areas, right? Putting your head in the right areas. What is your purpose? Why are you doing this? Is it to fulfill something, or is it to make other people fulfill something that they're giving you? Because quarterback, it's easy to say, oh, I'm going to play quarterback. And then, you know, teachers are going to point you out. Girls are going to point you out. The newspaper is going to point you out. And those fruits taste good. They feel good if you can perform. It's really easy to want to gravitate that position. Or do you want to do it because it brings you a feeling of like passion, of like empowerment, to where I'm helping a team and I'm competitive, and of course quarterbacks love to have the ball in their hand. Like, I get to do something special. So, and you know, I feel like you can kind of see that within the kids, or like in people, like, what is their motive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why are they doing this? Because you see in the NFL, like, there's so many dudes that are 2 stars, 3 stars, 1 star, didn't have a star, that are household names in the NFL, right?
Completely.
But the kids
and
that are 5
the
stars,
opposite, you know, the 5 stars that we don't know who they are now, you know?
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's like adversity is such a good pill. So usually when you don't put expectation on like the pedestal, oh, I want to play for the best team, I want to just go about it in your, you know, Pop Warner, your local community, and take the journey rather than like have to go. And I don't know, it's all situational. I don't have a kid either, so I don't know how it feels.
True,
You
yeah.
know,
No, but to the point of the purpose thing, I mean, like I noticed it this, what was it? 2 years ago, I spent the winter in Florida, just lucky through random connections, training and working at a spot called Tom Shaw Performance, like a
yeah, it's
NFL.
dope, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure, dude.
Yeah. And so I was working, training there, you know, like throwing with all the guys getting ready for the combine and everything. And, you know, we probably had like 25, 30 dudes. And bro, there are a few dudes in there that like, they didn't want to be there. Like they didn't have the purpose. The reason they were there is because they're freak athletes, and it
Good.
was a possibility that they could make $1 million, you know. And like, but you could just feel the difference between the guy who like really, really, really wanted to be there, and then the guy who was just kind of like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, you know. And so it like that goes all the way to, you know, there's guys in the league like that don't have that purpose, and
Especially when you make it that high, you
and
make
you're
it
you're
that
only
long,
going to
you're like,
last so long if you don't
well,
have that
so
purpose.
it's so hard to stay motivated.
Yeah.
You know, it's so hard to say, where's the next hill, where's the next, like, where's the next feat? I'm already here. Like my heroes are my colleagues. Like I'm good now, like I've made it. And then once again the whole thing takes over. It's like kind of what happened to me at college. Like, oh, I've made it, I'm cool with being here. Cool, I'm just cool with being here. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not like passionate to go to the next stage. You see that happen at every phase, I guess, of life, to where it's like, it's once again sort of like, who's the most motivated? You're going to reap what you put in, right? You reap what you sow. Whatever decision you make, it decides your destiny. Like we said, there's no secret recipe. It's
Yeah.
right in front
Yeah.
of your eyes. But do you have the integrity to continue to make all those stale decisions? It may seem super boring and super stale, but like, you're going to have to be pretty consistent. I don't know.
For sure. Kind of switching it up a little. I just wanted to ask, you know, we'll wrap it up probably in a little bit, but what do you feel like has been what's like the proudest thing you have that you've overcame, or like what's like an adversity thing you've gone through that you kind of hang your hat on, whether you really talk about it or not, but like in your mind, what's something that you look back on as super proud of overcoming?
Um, I'd say just the sheer journey I've been on, to
Mm-hmm.
where it's like how much I failed. I mean, like I told you earlier, I'm not big. I've had people that I classified as father figures in my life, whether it was my Pop Warner coach, like somebody you look up to your whole life. Eventually, they're like, "Yo, you should probably play safety." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I was always the person that like nobody really believed in. Even like when I was in Fargo, it was
Yeah.
like, no, like you're way too small to be playing quarterback. But I would overcome that. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because of the person I was. It
Yeah.
wasn't because of of course, like I could throw the ball and I deserve to be there physically, but of like the emotion that I brought to a team. And just in spite of people not believing in you, like I'm super proud of that, you know,
Okay. Yeah.
overcoming. And you know, my head coach thought I was an NAI kid, you know, but
High school coach.
yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you're an NAI kid, you're a Division III kid. When it's like,
Dude,
no,
same, man.
yeah, no,
Fuck,
I'm not.
same.
And of like, it just feels good to be able to win when you believe in yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, it may not, it's not like a statistical win. It's just like, I'm still here and I'm still happy. You can't, like, you couldn't kill me. Like you couldn't strangle the life from my football career, even though you said I was done developing and blah blah blah. Like, somebody else isn't going to decide my fate.
Right.
So just to still be in the position I am, like still riding passion, still, you know, being that kid that woke up when I was, you know, like Christmas time with 7 years old, excited to throw on my Joe Montana uniform. Like, I'm still excited to wake up and watch the Chargers. Like I'm still that kid that just loves football, and I'm blessed that I still get to do that because I haven't listened to everybody else. I haven't listened to, are you gonna find a real job? Like,
Yeah.
or meeting a established adult and saying, yo, what do you do for a living? And say, oh, I'm a quarterback coach. Oh, coaches don't make much. If I'm a bitch and I feel sorry for myself, I'm like, oh yeah, well maybe I should do something other people respect. No, it's not about that. It's like, it's continuing to be who I want to be. And you haven't been able to shit on my love. It's like, I don't know. It's just finding a way to love yourself. I'm super stoked that none of that has declined. It's only elevated, and I'm still the person that I always wanted to be. So.
For sure. No, I mean, dude, I've said it before on here, but that's what you just said is literally the reasoning behind living for a living. After the first year in Europe and coming back there and talking to friends, or whether it be a, family friend or whatever, whoever, and saying, what do you do for a living? And I'd be like, I play American football in Europe. And then, the looks you get when you say that. And then you have to explain that same old story. And most of the time, the people who are saying that kind of thing are doing it condescendingly. And I finally was just like, man, I'm fucking tired of dealing with that. I don't care what they think, but I need to come up with a new answer. And so one day, I forget exactly who it was. I just remember he was so arrogant asking me. And I just looked at him. I go, I'm living, bro. What are you doing for a living? And it was just like, it like caught him in his tracks completely. And like, that's where the genesis of it. So no, man, I love to hear you say that, man. It's cool. And if you were gonna, I know I've kind of asked this and maybe you've kind of answered it, but I'm gonna still ask it anyway. Like, if you close your eyes right now and like think about in, let's say, 2025, what's the perfect world for you looking like?
2025.
Hopefully we make it through the next year.
I got a Mercedes Sprinter van, right?
Ooh.
I got myself a nice Sprinter van, and
Okay.
I'm going to continue to support the kids that I've raised in my community. So I'm going to be there for when they have their first start. I'm going to be there to watch them suit up for the first time, or whatever, those monumental times to where like I was on their journey. I'm going to continue to still be there. Yeah. And that's why I'm working so hard now, because one day I'm just going to be able to travel the world and go hold camps in Italy and go hold camps in the Midwest, because people respect me and off my track record. And I think once again, like, I get to continue to make myself happy by being there for people. It's like, you're not going to want to miss your child's graduation. Like, that's an emotional time for parents. The same thing's going to happen with me. Like, when I see my kids go and execute on what we set out to do since they've been in 7th grade and 6th grade and 5th grade with some of these kids, it'd be no better feeling in the world. Like, I get emotional thinking about it. Yeah. Because that's what we set out to do. And the execution is going to feel so good. You know what I'm saying? And I get to watch football. I get to like, I'm going to go travel the world and watch my boy, play for the university or whatever, and fail, succeed or whatever. And it's going to feel great. It's going to be exactly what I dreamt of. So
sick. So the Sprinter van, you're like, kind of like you're road tripping in that and living in it, kind of, or? Oh,
like I said, man, the credibility of my brand is going to be strong enough to where, like, okay, I can just throw up on Instagram, like, yo, I'll be in Arizona this weekend, or I'll be in Michigan this weekend, like in my van, my Sprinter van, just
bro, you're preaching to the choir right now. That's all my goal is right now, is to get a van.
Then I can go travel the United States and make myself happy by traveling, and then help other people, whether it's helping coaches, whether it's helping other quarterbacks, and then obviously like being there for the kids, like letting them know, like, I still have their back. Like, I want to be there for you. I want to go and experience like a little slice of your life, and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's exciting. Like, we always talk about like going and supporting each other, or, you know, like those times like in the future, like it's going to be cool when I'm here and like you guys come visit me. Like I train two brothers, the same brothers, and me and the little brother, we're talking about like, yo, next year we're going out and going to go visit you in Pennsylvania. And then the little brother's like, yeah, we're going to go watch Penn State play too. Yeah. And like, yeah, just things like that. Like, you know, just going and seeing it, going and feeling it, because it's special, you know.
Yeah.
It's just special. It means a lot to me. You
Yeah,
know,
you're
anybody that I
creating
love,
another
like I
family.
love these kids with all my heart. And, you know, anybody that I love, like when they do something and execute something that they're proud of, whether it's like, you know, your future wife taking the next step in her life, I'm going to want to be there for that.
Yeah.
Whether it's my kid, you know, having a lead role in a play, I'm going to want to be there for that. But like, I'm not at that point in my life right now. Like the most important individuals in my life are my family and my kids. Like my kids are my quarterbacks. So
For sure.
that's where I see myself in 5 years, because I know all these kids are going to be going and executing and playing on Saturdays. So it's either I'll have the radio out while I'm training on Saturdays, or I'll be in the stands. I tell them, I'm like, yo, me and your dad are going to be tailgating while you're out there playing. I'm going to be having so much fun. So I got to take off though, dude. I got to go to train.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, dude, I told you, yeah, normally hour and a half. We're at like 2:10 right now, but bro, I'm so glad we got to connect, bro. This has been like I said, I think you're the best in my opinion from what I see on the internet, and I know you don't want to claim that yourself, so I'll fucking do it for you. I'm glad we did this, dude. This has been very inspiring for me also, because we're on the same wavelength on a lot of fucking things, and
Yeah.
let's really like, I'm gonna try and do my better part. Let's stay in contact, and you know, I see myself trying to do similar things what you're doing, but on the other side
We'll
of
get
the
a camp
pond.
out there, man. We'll get a
And
camp going out there.
yeah, and so let's, you know, blend it together at some point, man, because dude, I think there's something there, like from just the first day a couple of years back, just tossing the rock down at the park. It was a good little connection. So
Yeah,
really,
no doubt, man.
really grateful for you, brother.
Hell yeah, likewise. I appreciate you having me on here and let me use your platform, and, you know, continue to inspire and share your two piece. I always love listening. So
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Until next time, like I said, we got to get you on again, no doubt.
hell yeah. How do they say goodbye and Czech?
In Czech, they like Italy, they say ciao.
Ciao. Yeah. Cheers.
Ciao.
All right, bro.
Ciao, brother.
Peace.
Have a good one, man. Take care.
Later. Peace.
Later.
Living for a living, baby. How you doing?